Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2021 High Fire Season Press Conference. I'd like to thank all the attending chief officers, elected officials, and honored guests. I would like to now introduce Santa Barbara County Fire Chief and Operational Area Coordinator, Chief Mark Hartwig.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you for coming on this early spring day. First, if I could just introduce a few people who provide support to us and direction at the County Fire District, and then introduce my op area or operational area partners as well. We have board members Doss Williams and Greg Hart, and we also have from Joan Hartman, Supervisor Hartman's office, we have Jefferson. And I'd like to recognize them and their support of the County Fire District, and then the county-wide support of the operational area. I'd also like to introduce a couple other partners that are really instrumental in helping us do what we do, and that is the Sheriff, Brown. Bill Brown is here. And of course, when, like our other law enforcement, local law enforcement partners, we're together on the hood of a police car, a sheriff's cruiser, or a battalion chief's buggy, talking about where the fire's going and whether or not we need to have any evacuations. So thank you, Sheriff. And then, of course, the coordination of our local government and emergency management activities within the county. Our County Office of Emergency Management, Kelly Hubbard, is here. Thank you for joining us. As the op area coordinator, it's my job to make sure that we have what we need when we need it. And it's also my responsibility, in cooperation with my fellow fire chiefs, to give what we can give in order to help our neighbors up and down the state. Specifically behind me, we have my fire chief colleagues, and in fact, in just a second, I'm going to introduce the County Fire Chiefs President to talk about a little bit about that cooperation and before we go back to Daniel again. But I also want to recognize the boots on the ground, and that's what you see, some of the equipment behind us and the people that staff that equipment. Those are the folks that attack the fire directly through usually progressive hose lays up any and all terrain throughout the county. They do it very effectively, and they're in the process right now of getting ready in our readiness. And then, of course, I want to mention the Forest Service. Our forest colleagues here, Chief Jimmy Harris, and their partnership in the forest and in the areas that are mutual threat zones as well. Wanted to talk just a little bit about what you can do. We call it high fire season today. This isn't a fire season kickoff, and in fact, the state of California really is going to a year-round fire season in both staffing and funding. And so this is high fire season, and what that means is we're vigilant. We know that you're vigilant, but this is the time of year that we upstaff and we send our wildland fire response to all the calls within the county. It's a little bit early this year, and in fact, the state has passed down some money. Our CAL FIRE partners have passed down money to us here as the contract county for the state responsibility areas in order to staff up and to kick off high fire season a little bit earlier. There's a great graphic on the incident support trailer over on my left that really highlights where we are this year. 2 years ago, we had about 125, a little over 125% of rainfall, average rainfall for this time of the year. Last year, we went down a little bit, and we were hoping that it was just going to be a dip. We were down around 92, 95%. This year, we're at 47%. What does that mean? It means that the live fuel moisture, the fuel that you see on the hillsides at this time already, about 2 months ahead of schedule, is able to carry fire up terrain and in dry undergrowth. So it's a little bit early for us, and we're here to tell you we're ready, and we want you to be ready. Specifically, I want to direct you to the readyforwildfire.org website. That talks about Ready, Set, Go. Ready, Set, Go is a program adopted by every fire agency and local jurisdiction throughout the state. And that is, ready just means get ready well beforehand. That's clearance from your structures, that's hardening your home. We know, and the data shows that it's not that direct flame front that takes out homes many times. It's those embers, and those embers finding ways into the attic and to dry spaces and receptive fuel, whatever that might be around your house, getting ready for that. So that's your job. Your job is to be ready, and it's through fuel clearance. The set is when we have fire weather, when we declare a red flag event, or when the Weather Service says, hey, it's really dry and it's windy, for you to be monitoring. And not just monitoring media, and we have our media partners here, but also watching yourself. And that is to look for things that are out of the ordinary. If you see something, say something. We like that. We've adopted that from our law enforcement partners. If you see something that looks unsafe, you can report an unsafe fire activity, especially during fire activity. And then, of course, in conjunction with our Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Brown, his folks, and local law enforcement, to go when we say go. When we tell you to go, it's in your best interest, and quite frankly, something that we count on in order to get to areas that we're needed in with all of our fire equipment. Ready, Set, Go. Again, something that's adopted. I want, if I could, on behalf of my fire chief colleagues, implore everybody within the county to be familiar with that program. If you have any questions at all and you can't get those answers from your local fire website or the readyforwildfire.org, you can always call your local fire agency as well. I'm going to pass the mic over right now to Greg Fish. Greg Fish is the County Fire Chiefs Association president, and he's going to talk about the cooperative efforts that we're so reliant on in the county. Chief Fish.
Thank you, Chief Hartwig. What you see behind us is a lot of different color apparatus. There's red, there's white, there's green. And what that speaks to is the collaboration that we have to deal with a wildland fire. Wildland fires are going to burn. That's not even a question. So how do we handle them? We do that through collaboration. So there's 8 local and federal fire agencies within our county that have a long history of tackling challenges together. We train, we plan, and we respond together regularly, and we are ready for the challenges that are going to be presented to us this year. We talk about collaboration on the fire front, but we also have collaboration in other places as well. Currently, as the president of the Fire Chiefs Association, I've been really proud of our accomplishments that we've been dealing with fire and life safety issues through a regional task force. All the fire chiefs, along with a lot of other nonprofits, have been involved with trying to deal with a public safety items as it relates to just anything in the county that might pose a threat to us. We also have auto and mutual aid agreements, and if you don't know what those are, we have agreements between each of the fire departments along with our partners from the Los Padres National Forest, where we have agreements to bring in specialized personnel and equipment to deal with any type of incident that might come up. This is going to be critically important in a year where, if it gets anything like it was last year, we're going to need our partners in those auto aid and mutual aid agreements. And then moving toward a regional dispatch center is also something that's going to help us collaborate when it comes to emergency responses. We're looking forward to a day when we have the closest resource available at the time, the most appropriate resource available at the time with a border drop to deal with any type of incident that we might have. And that's going to help also better serve the community as it relates to any type of emergency that might pop up. And then lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the great work that goes on every year, sometimes multiple times a year, through an incident management team. We have a Type 3 incident management team that is capably run by our people within the county, and we make sure that those people are certified, completely accredited, and made to handle any type of incident, from a debris flow, wildland incident, hazardous materials, urban search and rescue, water rescue, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, this IMT, incident management team, is absolutely just fabulous, and I'm really happy to say that in this county we have that available to us should the need arise. And with that, I would hand it back to Daniel. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. So that's going to go ahead and conclude our press conference. We have representatives from all the different agencies within the county, as well as the supervisor's office. If you have any questions for anybody that you see up here today, please feel free to pull them aside after the conference and ask your questions. Thank you.